Hello Théo, and by extension, my YouTube audience. This is my intro vlog. My name is Caressa. I'm 16 and I just graduated from the 10th grade. Due to some awesome circumstances, however, I will be skipping 11th grade and I will be a senior next year. I'm a nerd fighter and I like to consider myself of reasonable intelligence. Consequently, I have an absolute passion for learning and knowledge and a certain fondness for words, particularly brilliant and iridescent. I'm very critical and I absolutely love to write. I do happen to consider myself nerdy, somewhat cynical, on occasion overly cheerful, and extremely contradictory. Although I am very proud to report that I am completely allergic to cats and all related felines who may or may not meow. I'm interested in Sherlock, Harry Potter, cows, Abraham Lincoln, Jim Henson, the show Community, math, puns, reading, randomly breaking into song and dance. I'm somewhat obsessed with basic ideas, theories, philosophy, and even psychology. I use a Toshiba Camilio times 100, and I edit using the dreaded Windows Movie Maker. So Théo is a really super cool YouTube user that I follow. You can find his first channel here and his second channel here. He's decided to vlog every day in June, and he is titling it No Edge, which again is infinitely cool. He kickstarted the month by having 2 videos, one titled Introducing Me, in which he much more briefly described himself. The second titled Introducing You, in which he described how we have a tendency to lean towards imagining others as similar to ourselves or other people that we know intimately or personally. Before we continue, I just want to say that I find this absolutely fascinating. Humans have a desire to see patterns in the world around us. We like to see patterns in nature and patterns in people, and because we think the way we do, we want others to think that way and act that way, and so we can have a pattern throughout the human existence. It's also absolutely mind-blowing to imagine someone having a brain that works differently than you, who feels different things and thinks different things and has never thought the things you have thought. And we can't really comprehend that in the way that we can't comprehend infinity. This is also interesting when you see it in practice in things like literature, particularly in Harry Potter, in which you can see great examples in Neville and Snape. J.K. Rowling follows the very common route of giving supporting characters 1 or 2 characteristics in which we can generally rely on them to act. Until, of course, we decide that Neville is actually a very important character, or that Snape sacrificed his life in order to support Lily. And although I feel like the books in some ways were written for those 2 climaxes, it's very interesting to keep in this idea that we will only remember their one main characteristic throughout the entire series of the books, when they could be developing quietly and on their own. And it's particularly interesting to think about this as possibly a comment on the way that we remember things. A comment on how, when I see you and you are not a very important person in my life, I might remember that you have dark curls, and that might be the only thing that I have stored for you. Until, of course, you become my best friend, or my best enemy, or someone who I associate with on a regular basis, in which case I have to add more to your profile. Or is it simply a writing strategy to prevent the clutter in the plot? Anywho, Théo then invited his users to interact with him and to introduce themselves. I want to extend this invitation to you. I really appreciate when you comment or watch my videos, and I want to better know you and better communicate with you, and maybe we can become friends or something. And now it is time to end the video. Again, I want to encourage you to subscribe to both Théo's channels. He makes really intelligent and consistent content, and I am a very big fan, despite my continued lack of feedback. As always, the links for everything I mentioned in the video is down below. The credit for the background music will also be there. I'll see you next time, guys, and thank you for introducing yourselves. Bye.